Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. It's the story of King Solomon and the Demon King. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a mighty and powerful king named Solomon. He was known throughout the kingdom for his wisdom, his wealth, and his justice. His rule was just and fair, and the people loved him dearly. But despite all of his power and influence, Solomon had one great fear, and that was the fear of death. He was terrified of the day when he would have to leave this world and go to the unknown. One night, as Solomon was tossing and turning in his royal bed, unable to sleep, he looked up at the ceiling and made a wish. He wished with all of his heart that he could live forever and never have to die. As if by magic, the ceiling opened up and a voice boomed, "You shall live forever." And with that, the ceiling closed and everything went black. When Solomon woke up, he thought he had dreamed it all. But then he remembered the wish he had made, and he started to wonder if it might have come true. He decided to test it out and jumped off the balcony of his palace. But instead of falling to his death, he found himself floating in midair. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. He flailed his arms and legs, but it was no use. He was stuck in midair and couldn't move. And then he saw it. A giant pair of wings had grown from his back, and he was now an enormous bird, bigger than any he had ever seen before. He flew around his palace in circles, unable to control himself. Then he smashed through the palace walls and flew away into the sky. As he flew higher and higher, he saw the entire kingdom below him. He could see the rivers and the lakes, the mountains and the valleys, the cities and the villages. He felt like he was on top of the world, and for a moment, he was happy. But then he started to get bored. He had always been a very curious person, and he had seen so much of the world already. But now, from up here, everything seemed so small and insignificant. He wanted to see more, to explore further. He flew over the ocean and saw other lands, other kingdoms, other wonders, but nothing really impressed him. He had seen it all before. He flew over deserts and jungles, over mountains and plains, but he was still not satisfied. He had traveled all over the world, but it was all just so boring. And then he saw it. In the distance, he saw a massive fortress made of black stone. It looked ancient and powerful, and something about it intrigued him. He didn't know what it was, but he had to go there. As he got closer, he saw that the fortress was surrounded by a huge wall. The wall was covered in spikes, and it looked like no one could get in or out. But Solomon wasn't worried. He just flew straight towards the wall and smashed right through it. Inside the fortress, Solomon saw all kinds of strange and scary things. There were suits of armor on the walls, and weapons lying around. It looked like a place where only warriors were allowed. Solomon wasn't afraid. He walked right through the fortress until he came to a big metal door. As he approached the door, it slowly opened, and he saw a huge throne made of black marble. On the throne sat a tall and handsome man with a crown on his head. The man had a beard and long flowing hair, and he looked very powerful. When Solomon saw him, he knew who he was. This was the Demon King, the ruler of this fortress. The Demon King looked at Solomon and smiled. "So you're the legendary King Solomon," he said. "I've heard many great things about you." Solomon smiled back. "And you must be the Demon King," he said. "I've also heard many great things about you. Why have you come here?" asked the Demon King. "I could ask you the same question," said Solomon. "Let me guess. You want to take over my kingdom? To steal my treasure and to kill my people?" said the Demon King. "Actually, I was hoping we could work together," said Solomon. "What do you mean?" asked the Demon King. "Well, I'm looking for an adventure. Something exciting," said Solomon. "And you look like the kind of guy who can help me with that." The Demon King laughed. "An adventure, you say? I'll tell you what, you can stay here in my fortress and I'll show you a good time." And so Solomon spent many days in the Demon King's fortress. They fought battles, they explored dungeons, and they uncovered secrets. But Solomon soon realized that the Demon King was not what he seemed. He was cruel and evil, and he had no mercy. One day, the Demon King told Solomon that he was going to attack a nearby kingdom. "We'll take their treasure and we'll kill their king," he said with a smile. "That sounds like fun," said Solomon. But as they were getting ready to attack, Solomon noticed something. All of the Demon King's soldiers were demons. They were ugly and scary, and they looked evil. And then it hit him. This was not just a fortress. It was a prison. The Demon King was not just a king. He was a jailer. kept all these demons locked up so they wouldn't cause chaos in the world. And now the Demon King wanted to unleash them all and bring destruction to the world. "I won't help you with this," said Solomon. "Oh, so you're going to betray me after all we've been through," said the Demon King. "I'm not betraying you, I'm just doing what's right," said Solomon. "Very well, then get out of my fortress before I change my mind," said the Demon King. And so Solomon left the fortress and went back to his kingdom. He had learned a lot on his journey, but he was also very sad. He had thought he had made a friend in the Demon King, but he had been wrong. Sometimes appearances can be deceiving, and not all powerful people are good. But then, something strange happened. As Solomon was walking through the streets of his kingdom, he saw people bowing down to him. They were calling him their savior, their hero. And he didn't understand why. But then he saw it. All around the kingdom, people were celebrating. There were parades and festivals and fireworks, and they were all celebrating Solomon. He didn't know what was going on, but then someone came up to him and explained, "There was a terrible demon loose in the world, causing all kinds of destruction," he said. "But you came and defeated him. You saved our kingdom. We are forever in your debt." Solomon was shocked. He had defeated the Demon King without even fighting. It simply walked away, and the world had been saved. And then he understood. That was why he had made that wish in the first place. He was afraid of death, because he was afraid of what would happen to his kingdom when he was gone. But he didn't have to worry anymore. He had been given a chance to live forever, not as a man, but as a legend. From that day on, Solomon was known throughout the world as the greatest king who ever lived. People wrote songs and poems about him, and stories were told for generations. And although he was gone, his legend lived on. And that, my friends, is the story of King Solomon and the Demon King. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to share for more amazing tales. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.